help his neighbors. And tonight, people will be meeting for the first time since the tragedy. Of course, a tragedy that remains unsolved. News Channel 5's Mo Hyder live at the Bellevue YMCA where that meeting will be held. And Mo, what is this all about?
Well, Amy, as you know, that something like this normally does not happen in a community like this, and many of those questions that those community members have could be answered tonight. And again, you remember on Monday, Metro Police say 45-year-old Eric Heppenstein was chasing two suspects who they say were breaking into cars in the Trayside subdivision just off of Highway 100. He was found later shot to death with several bullet holes in his car. Community members are calling this senseless and heartbreaking for everyone. Despite that loss, Metro City Councilman calls Heffenstein's actions noble and says a lot of people would have done the same thing if they were in that situation. Now, so far, again, there are no leads in this case. Again, that meeting is set to begin here at 7 o'clock. People are expected to get an update on this investigation as it does progress. Again, we're live in Bellevue this morning. Mo Hyder, News Channel 5.
Thanks, Mo. And you have to be on the lookout for a person of interest in a double murder in Louisiana. It's believed he could be in our area. The Macon County Sheriff says 45-year-old Michael Collins, who you see right here, is wanted in the deaths of two people. Police in Durham Springs, Louisiana, say they found the couple's body Tuesday at their business. Collins is believed to be in a 2016 Nissan Frontier with Louisiana plates. He lives in Macon County. He lived there several years ago, and he does still have family here.
And the funeral for a soldier killed at Fort Campbell is set for a little bit later today. 27-year-old Sergeant Brittany Silvers was killed last month. Her estranged husband is accused of shooting her to death. Investigators say she had filed for divorce 2 days before she died. She will be buried at the National Cemetery in her hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. And a Kentucky teenager is killed in a crash. The Warren County Sheriff's Office says it happened on Highway 185 yesterday. Investigators say 19-year-old Destiny Brooks died when she drove into the opposite lane, veered off the road and hit a tree, then a pole. She was the only person in the car, and no word yet on what caused her to crash.
Right now, police are searching for a missing fisherman. James Sandifer went fishing in Rockland Park Tuesday afternoon and hasn't returned home. His car was found at the park. He was wearing a green coat and dark colored pants at the time. And if you were at Rockland Park Tuesday or Wednesday, or you've seen Sandifer, here's his picture, please call Hendersonville Police. Clarksville police need your help tracking down two men accused of stealing a credit card and then running up hundreds of dollars in charges. Take a look here. Officers released these surveillance pictures. Police say the man in the gray shirt stole the card about 2 weeks ago. And the man in the darker shirt right there, he actually used the card at the Kroger on Madison Street. If you know who these guys are, please call Clarksville Police.
President Donald Trump is defending his idea that he can end U.S. birthright citizenship.
He said he would rather do that through Congress because it will be permanent. Birthright citizenship allows U.S. citizens for citizenship for all children born in the U.S. regardless of their parents' status when they are here in the country. The president also took a swipe at Democrats by tweeting a video of former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, a Democrat who also proposed getting rid of birthright citizenship. Now, we got some reaction on this from the two candidates running for U.S. Senate. Republican Marsha Blackburn said, quote, "Our founding fathers did not intend for birthright tourism to be an appropriate pathway to American citizenship." She went on to say, "We need to make immigration fair to those who want to come to the country the right way and end this crazy practice of birth tourism for United States citizenship." Now, her opponent, Democrat Phil Bredesen, said, quote, "I have always been a constitutionalist, and the Constitution is very clear about who is an American citizen. It's awfully hard to read the Constitution and conclude that any president can change what it lays out." Well, today is the final day to early vote, and Election Day is this Tuesday. Make sure you stay with News Channel 5 Network for all your election 2018 coverage, both on air and online. We're going to bring you the latest election results as soon as the polls close next Tuesday.
Here's a little bit of good news this morning, and don't we all need that? Belmont University and Nashville State Community College are teaming up to make it easier for students to earn a bachelor's degree. The announcement means students who earn an associate degree in business administration from Nashville State are eligible for early admittance into Belmont's Massey College of Business.
Good opportunity for them and a good day to stay inside and study if you need to do something like that.
Yes, or just
Read.
stay inside.
Yeah, maybe not the study part.
All right, let's check in with Leland for more.
All right, good day, everybody. Right now in Nashville, we are under a partly to a mostly cloudy sky. It's a bit on the breezy side for us out there. Let me show you the scene from Columbia. Right now, you're 69 degrees your way, and winds there kicking up. Here's what's happening in Nashville. It is 70, and that wind south at about 14. Winds gusting into the mid-20s for us out there. So we are going to see breezy weather with rain and a few thunderstorms moving our way. And then later temperatures will drop. So there's a look at what's happening for us here at the time. And a little bit of light rain here in the mid-state, more rain over West Tennessee. But look at the numbers for Jonesboro and back up toward Cape. And look at Paducah. That's the indication of the cooler air moving our way. Right now, see a little bit of lightning that we've been watching on the Mississippi, a line there with West Tennessee. So for today, rain and a few thunderstorms. This afternoon, temperatures dropping. And then for tonight, few showers and down to 46. Right now, the time is 4:40. Let's head back to the news desk.
He's facing multiple charges after 2 murders at a Kroger grocery store.
We have an update this morning on what investigators say have motivated this suspected gunman. And we're going to warn you, these Halloween costumes might make you cry, but not because they're scary. Look how cute they are. What some of the tiniest trick-or-treaters dressed up as this year. It's coming up next. We have a new development this morning at 4:42 into a double killing at a Kentucky grocery store. The man accused in the shooting at this grocery store now faces 5 charges. 51-year-old Gregory Bush is accused of killing 2 African Americans at that Kroger in Jeffersontown. Although authorities say the shooting appears to be racially motivated, Bush is not charged with a hate crime. Prosecutors say this because the state's hate crime status does not include homicides. We may soon get to start to get some answers on why a brand new 737 plane fell into the ocean Monday, just right out of the sky. Divers have recovered a flight data recorder belonging to the Lion Air passenger plane. The Boeing jet crashed just minutes after takeoff from Jakarta, killing all 189 people on board. That plane was just a couple months old.
And police in New York are looking for any clues after these 2 sisters from Saudi Arabia are found bound together in the Hudson River. Police say they were dressed alike and bound together at their ankles and their waists with duct tape. We've learned they were alive when they entered the water, but their causes of death have not been released. Their mother says she got a call from the Saudi government earlier this month saying the family had to go back because the sisters had applied for immigration asylum. And President Trump kicked off a whirlwind schedule of campaign events that will send him crisscrossing the nation over the next week. He's trying to drum up Republican support leading up to the midterm elections. Democrats are doing the same, sending some of their biggest names to rebuke the president. Here's Laura Podesta with all the details.
President Trump campaigned in Florida last night, his first of 11 events in 8 states ahead of the midterm elections.
The people of Florida are going to send Rick Scott to the United States Senate, and Ron DeSantis will be your next governor.
He's keeping immigration front and center.
Democrats want open borders, and they want to invite caravan after caravan into our country, which brings crime.
That caravan is still weeks away from reaching the border. Earlier, President Trump said the amount of troops he's sending there may increase.
We have about 5,008. We'll go up to anywhere between 10 and 15,000.
Democratic heavy hitters on the campaign trail are not letting up on the president's political attacks.
Trump is a pathological liar, and it really doesn't matter what he says because that has nothing to do with his reality.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders was also in Florida yesterday campaigning for Andrew Gillum, who's running for governor against DeSantis. And former Vice President Joe Biden was in Missouri for Senator Claire McCaskill.
We need people who are authentic, who don't bully or belittle other people, who treat people with dignity and respect, people who simply tell the truth.
Former President Obama and Oprah Winfrey will also be out campaigning for Democrats in the next few days. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
President Trump is mainly focused on races for Senate and governor. He will be in Missouri tonight and Chattanooga on Sunday. He has plans to be in 5 other states over the next week.
And today marks the first day you can sign up for insurance under the Affordable Care Act. And experts say this year they don't expect to see an increase in the number of people buying plans. The Hill reports that changes ushered in by the Trump administration will make it easier for people to forego those insurance plans. The site says nearly 12 million people were automatically re-enrolled or signed up during last year's open enrollment period. That's down nearly 3% from a year earlier.
It is a problem that knows no age, race, gender, or pay grade. We are talking about the opioid crisis, and tonight community members in Wilson County are invited to a forum to talk about why this problem matters. It's going to run from 6:30 to 7:30 at Providence Church on Rutland Road in Mount Juliet. It is open to everyone. And also happening today, the March of Dimes will kick off Prematurity Awareness Month. The group will release its annual state-by-state premature birth report card. It will include how Tennessee is doing and whether or not the state's numbers have improved. The report also includes what factors play into premature births. The March of Dimes says it's rallying support to raise awareness to help protect moms and their babies.
It was a Halloween to remember. The University of Missouri had some fun with the little tiniest trick-or-treaters yesterday. Look at this. Nurses in the neonatal intensive unit dressed the babies up. They were in their care. How cute is that little ice cream cone right there? These nurses say they wanted the babies to look their best during a special Halloween photo shoot. And those parents will always have those sweet little pictures. Clark Kent, Superman. Those are awesome.
That is so cute. Of course, I love babies when they're on their stomachs like that. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Now, both of you guys dressed up last night, and it looked like so much fun. We are going to get those pictures to you all this morning.
Yeah, we were Lady and the Tramp, and my wife was the spaghetti. You know how on the scene they like, she loves to like pick the weird thing and try to be creative. She's so creative. She makes it all, so it's pretty fun to do. How was Jack Skeleton?
Jack was cool. My wife and I were Jack Skeleton and Sally from the Nightmare Before Christmas, and not bad. Now, she had an easier deal because all she had to do was paint her face. Yeah. I had to put this mask on and off, and after a few minutes of wearing it, I was just kind of taking it off in between kids coming to the house.
Wonder if she did that on purpose. I don't know, but it was really cute. So we'll share those, especially on social media too.
Yeah. Hey, well, right now, from a weather standpoint, for a lot of you, rain held off. Now, for some of you, you still had to deal with a few showers in the neighborhood while trick-or-treating. But let's show you what is up for today. More rain moving in. Now, this is mainly rain, but there could be a few thunderstorms embedded in this at times. 68 at 9 o'clock, 66 at noon, 62 at 3 o'clock. Western areas by 3 o'clock, you'll be in the upper 50s at that time. Right now from Columbia, 69 degrees your way to start our morning. Here in Nashville, right at 70. So the high for the day at 70, and that's going to drop as we work through the day. And a wind out of the south at 14, at times gusting up to about 24. Look at this. I'll step out of the way. Our breezy day ahead of that weather system moving in. Wind gusts right now between 20 and 25 miles per hour out of Crossville, Camden, Jackson, and back over toward Murray. So here's the setup right now. Rain stretching from the Great Lakes all the way down through the Magnolia State this morning. There's an area of low pressure back over Arkansas with the front to the south and a warm front to the north. It's this setup, which is a classic weather setup for strong to severe storms, in the process of moving through. So far, most of the severe weather, with the exception of a few storms that were in Kentucky last night and a tornado warning in Memphis or Jackson area, most of the severe weather has been down north south. But we still need to keep an eye on some of that stuff over Mississippi as it moves northward. Right now, though, we've got the rain that we're dealing with. Flood watch out for the mid-state until 7 a.m. For Kentucky until 1. At one point, those were going to be in effect until tonight. So here is exact track showing the rain and a few thunderstorms moving across the area as the front moves through. Cooler air moves in. Behind this, mostly cloudy tomorrow. Few leftover showers tomorrow, but the key thing, highs of just 54 tomorrow afternoon, 41 tomorrow night. Some outlying areas are going to be in the 30s, so it's going to be chilly for football playoffs tomorrow night. Meanwhile, in the Saturday, 63. A little bit of a rain chance on Sunday. Higher rain chances coming in for Monday and Tuesday. Right now the time is 4:51. Let's head back over to the news desk.
It's not a warning you hear every day.
Another reason this morning you should stay vigilant when you're out on the roads. And Music City is doing its part to honor military families. What the Country Music Hall of Fame has in store this Veterans Day. It's next. We have a warning from Highway Patrol as they're seeing more crashes involving Amish buggies. They say distracted driving has been just really the main reason more buggies are being hit by cars in Lawrence County. Troopers say drivers are looking at their phones and they're distracted by other passengers. There have been 6 buggy-involved crashes just this year. Now get this, typically there's only 1 to 2 per year in the county.
And it's a small way to honor our local veterans. Starting today, they can get around our area and it's all free. The Regional Transportation Authority is launching a new program called Vets for the Holidays. RTA bus services and Music City Star train rides are free to vets. Just show a valid form of military veteran ID to the bus or the train operator. And the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum will honor all active duty and retired armed services members this Veterans Day. The museum has organized a fun-filled weekend of special programming and free admission for veterans and up to 3 immediate family members. The promotion begins on Saturday, November 10th and ends on Veterans Day.
Well, he didn't choose the pug life. The pug life chose him.
And now Doug the Pug's wildlife is actually going to bring him right here to Nashville. And today on Pickler and Ben, the furry internet sensation will appear on the show with his owners to share just how he manages his fame. The famous pug is best known for his social media posts that show him posing with celebrities and famous landmarks. Make sure to catch the episode today starting at 9 this morning right here on News Channel 5. That show is just doing so well. And not all magic on Halloween is bad. 2 Gallatin police officers made one little boy's holiday by helping rescue his kitten. In this picture the department posted on Facebook, you can see officers McAllister and Whitaker posing with the now very happy Peyton, who was reunited with his kitten last night. No way to go, guys.
Right now in Nashville, we are under a mostly cloudy sky. Let me show you what is happening at the hour. We'll start right now with a check of your commuter forecast for the ride into work. In the 60s out there, here are showers, a couple of thunderstorms are a possibility, a little cooler later in the day. So with this setup, really the red light for doing outdoor stuff today, and then you're back at the green light going into Saturday. Here is a look at what's happening for you right now. In our region, not much going on, but back out to our west, keeping an eye on some strong storms over northern Mississippi, including a tornado warning there just near the Alabama state line. So for today, 70 tonight, 46, 54 tomorrow, 63 on Saturday. Rain chances back in here by Sunday night into Monday. The news continues after this. It's 4:56.
Police are looking for several people possibly involved in a fight that led to a stabbing that left 1 man in critical condition. All of the details straight ahead.
A death row inmate in Nashville is set to die tonight, 3 weeks after he originally was. What the delay could be this time, coming up.
And a community in mourning as they meet for the first time since one of their own was taken from them. More on that coming up.
And things are pretty calm in Nashville right now, but you better brace yourself for a potentially messy commute this morning.
Rain is on the way through Tennessee today, and senior meteorologist Leland Statham has been here through the night. You didn't know that, but he's been watching the storms, keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, Bree was here till 1 o'clock, and I came in just after that to kind of keep an eye on radar in the event of severe weather. So far, nothing for us, but we'll watch for a few strong storms this morning. Right now here in Nashville, we've got a current reading for you of 70 degrees. So that's the key thing right now. It is wet out there for a lot of you and a bit on the breezy side for us this morning. From Columbia right now, there's 69 at this hour. Now, we've got some spotty light rain here in Nashville and in Robertson and Sumner counties, but the rain is a bit more pronounced as we go back out to our west. You can see some of that rain now from Clarksville to Dover. Most of West Tennessee covered with rain, and that extends down to Waverly and down to Linden and Perry County for us this morning. Meanwhile, there's a look at some of the rain from Jackson. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, just near the Hiller logo there's rain with a little bit of lightning down that way as well. But so far as for severe storms, where we see that right now has been northern and north central Mississippi. There are the temps. So it's a mild morning, but grab the umbrella, grab the jacket because it will be cooler later today. 69 at 7 a.m., mid-60s at noon, 63 at 3 o'clock. By the 3 o'clock hour, some of you in the western areas could be in the 50s. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but let's see how maybe the rain is having an impact on traffic. Let's get the very latest right now from Rebecca and 5 Live Traffic.
Leland, I've got the road weather index up right now, and for everyone at home, this is not the radar that Leland was just showing you. This is how the weather is impacting the road. So it tends to run a little bit behind the radar after the roadways and the ground is saturated. So this is what you can expect. We are starting to see Dixon County into the west, wet roads for you all. And take a look at the Memphis area. We've got a lot of blue. That means ponding or pooling possible. And this is a live look from a T-Dot cam on I-40 in the Memphis area. So this is what we can expect coming our way in the next little while. A live look from our sky cam in the downtown area overlooking Broadway. You can see a couple small drops on the camera lens there, but we don't have too many difficulties in the Nashville area just yet. It's really just starting to impact us a tiny bit. We have one crash on our map right now. This is Una Antioch Pike. That's the only thing that I am currently watching though. So for now you're going to be okay, but I'll keep my eye on this throughout the morning and let you know how that changes. This traffic report brought to you by Granite Transformations. Now let's head back to the desk.
All right, thank you so much. Breaking overnight, a man is fighting for his life after being stabbed near downtown Nashville.
News Channel 5's Blake Rosnowski is live from near the scene on Hermitage Avenue, and Blake, police have someone in custody right now, but they're not necessarily calling him a suspect.
Well, that's because they think that he was involved in a fight that had taken place here just off of Hermitage Avenue near this Subway and Shell gas station, not too far from Peabody Street. But then everyone took off from the scene. He was the first person they were able to take into custody, but at this point, they're not certain he is the man who actually stabbed the victim. So this was around 2:45 this morning when this all took place. There were multiple witnesses here on the scene who say that they saw that fight break out, and then eventually one man stabbed another man. Again, they all took off from the scene, and police were able to catch the one man, and now they're looking for the rest of the people involved. They are also talking to the people here at the Shell gas station who say they do have surveillance video, so they are hoping to be able to pull that and gather a little bit more information to figure out what happened. Unfortunately, that victim is currently listed in critical condition. He was taken over to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, where he is still being treated for that stab wound. They say it happened somewhere in his chest area. So we are working to continue to gather these details. Obviously, you can see that there are multiple crime scene units here that are going through the scene, trying to collect the evidence and figure out what exactly happened. So we will be staying here on the scene and letting you know as soon as we know any more information and can give you a better idea of what these people who may have been involved looked like. For now, live just south of the downtown area, Blake Rosnowski, News Channel 5.
Thank you, Blake. A double murderer is set to die tonight by the electric chair. Right now, Edmund Zagorski is on what they call death watch. His first execution date was postponed, and there's a possibility that that could happen again. News Channel 5's Hannah McDonald is live for us at Riverbend Maximum Security Prison. And Hannah, what exactly will happen throughout the day today?
Edmund Zagorski is supposed to remain on death watch until 7 o'clock tonight, but that could be postponed if his attorneys do not hear back from the state about having a cell phone, or a phone rather, installed inside the prison in the death chamber. Earlier this week, a federal judge said that could happen, but the state has not gotten back to Zagorski's attorney about it to say, yes, one has been put in. The phone would be used to contact courts or other officials if necessary. That judge decided if Zagorski's legal team doesn't hear from the state by 11 this morning, the execution is off. Zagorski's attorneys successfully stopped the first execution from happening after a series of legal challenges. Originally, he was set to die October 11th, but in the days before, his attorneys asked for the U.S. Supreme Court to delay the execution, and Governor Bill Haslam ultimately postponed it. One of the reasons being Zagorski chose in the final hours before his last scheduled execution to happen that he wanted to die by the electric chair instead of lethal injection. He received a death sentence in the 80s for killing 2 men during a bogus drug deal he set up. Coming up in the next half hour, we talked to one of those men's wives, and she tells us that at this point, she is ready for this to be over. At Riverbend Maximum Security Prison, Hannah McDonald, News Channel 5.
A convicted killer will learn his sentence later this morning. A court found Christopher McLaughlin guilty of premeditated murder in Timothy Ferguson's death. He broke into her Wedgwood apartment and stabbed her in February of 2017. McLaughlin is scheduled to be sentenced at 9 o'clock this morning. He faces life in prison. Download the News Channel 5 app to get that verdict as soon as it comes in.
A shooting in Bellevue has the community searching for answers. Tonight, neighbors are getting together for the first time since a man was shot to death in his car. News Channel 5's Mo Hyder live at the Bellevue YMCA this morning, and let's check in with him. Mo, what can we expect at this meeting tonight?
Well, I mean, as you know, something like this doesn't normally happen in a community like Bellevue, so many people are looking for answers at tonight's meeting after Monday's tragedy. Now, you remember this happened early Monday morning when Metro Police say 45-year-old Eric Heppenstein was chasing two suspects who they say were breaking into cars in the Trayside subdivision just off of Highway 100. He was found later shot to death with several bullet holes in his car. Now, community members are calling this a senseless act and heartbreaking for everyone. And despite that loss, one Metro City Councilman calls Heppenstein's actions courageous.
I think the reaction of Eric was a very noble one, and one that I think a lot of people like to think they would have done, is if they saw a neighbor's stuff being rifled through, that they would try to do their part to stop it.
And a lot of people hoping to get an update on that investigation. That meeting tonight starts at 7 here at the Bellevue YMCA. We're live at Bellevue this morning. Mo Hyder, News Channel 5.
Franklin police are searching for a teen connected to a jewelry theft. They say Friday, Hario Gananez snatched a display of tennis bracelets from a salesman at Gorgon Jewelers. The 18-year-old got away with more than $80,000 worth of jewelry. That's a pretty clear shot for you. Give Crime Stoppers a call. If you know where he is, there is a reward available for you. Scammers are trying to steal your money, and they have a new twist that might trick you. Spring Hill police say they got a complaint about the scam where the caller spoofed their non-emergency dispatch number and then claimed to be the IRS. The IRS will never call you asking for money through a wire transfer service. If you haven't paid your taxes, you'll either get a letter or an actual visit from an IRS criminal investigator.
Right now in Nashville, we are under a mostly cloudy sky with some showers moving into parts of the Mid-South. Let's check out our camera right now from Franklin, and there's a little bit of light rain in parts of Williamson County, but not enough to move the rain gauge out of the Franklin area for us this morning. Right now it's 68. Key thing now, temperatures are in the 60s, so it's a bit mild, but it's also a bit on the breezy side for us as well. Now, you look back out in West Tennessee, the rain's a little heavier out that way. You've got rain from Jackson back out toward Paducah. Let's remove rain for a moment, and let's just check lightning right now. There's been a few lightning strikes coming out of Mississippi into southern West Tennessee, but then notice in the last couple of frames, those lightning strikes kind of just die out as they get into southern Tennessee. There are the temps for you right now, but here's the deal, my friend. Grab a jacket. Yeah, you got the rain this morning, but temperatures are going to drop for you later in the day as well. So for our students this morning, temperatures between about 65 and 70, scattered showers and a couple of isolated storms out there. Then for the ride home, there could still be a few storms in our eastern counties, otherwise area showers and dropping temperatures. Some of our western locations could see temps in the 50s by the time students head home. More on that coming up in a few minutes, but right now the time is 5:10. Let's head back over to the news desk.
Leland, thank you. The man accused of killing two people in a Kentucky grocery store is officially charged this morning, while hate crimes are not currently on that list.
And the effort to fight hate continues around the country. The new campaign following the murder of 11 people at a Pittsburgh synagogue.
You're watching News Channel 5 this morning with Amy Watson, Adam Hammond, Storm 5 senior meteorologist Leland Statham, and 5 Live traffic with Rebecca Sliker.
New this morning, Indonesian officials say crews located one of the Lion Air Flight 610's black boxes.
Yeah, they've been looking for it for a couple of days. Crews returned to shore with that flight data recorder earlier today. They're still looking for the cockpit voice recorder. Those boxes will help investigators figure out why the 2-month-old plane crashed into the sea just minutes after taking off from Indonesia. 189 people were on that flight. Crews also believe they have located the plane's fuselage along the seabed.
We're also tracking updates in the Kentucky Kroger shooting. Gregory Bush is now indicted on 5 charges, including murder and attempted murder. He's accused of killing 2 African Americans at the store outside Louisville in Jeffersontown. While police believe the shooting is racially motivated, Bush is not charged with a hate crime under Kentucky law. The Commonwealth's attorney explains why.
It lists a number of other offenses, but it does not cover a homicide. It does cover wanton endangerment, interestingly enough. So, but hate crime is not a separate charge in Kentucky. Hate crime is a status, and it only comes up at the time of sentencing, when the judge makes a determination by preponderance of the evidence, 51% more likely than not, that this individual acted out of hatred toward another individual because of their race, gender, or any other type of immutable characteristic. So Kentucky's hate crime statute really does not help us at all.
However, federal prosecutors say they have an open and active hate crimes investigation. 44 counts of hate crimes are now filed against the man accused of killing 11 people in a Pittsburgh synagogue. Now there's a campaign to fight anti-Semitism around the country this weekend. It's called Show Up for Shabbat. The American Jewish Committee is encouraging people to observe the religious tradition. Shabbat is observed from sunset Friday to sunset Saturday, and rituals include worship, prayer, family gatherings, and festive meals. You can also stand with the Jewish community here in Nashville today. Tonight, the Kingdom Cafe and Grill on Jefferson Street is hosting a prayer vigil. It starts at 6 p.m. and everyone is welcome.
Some new developments in the death of Jamal Khashoggi. Turkish prosecutors are making some bold statements about how the Washington Post writer died. Prosecutors say Khashoggi was strangled immediately after entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Then his body was dismembered and destroyed. The office says it was premeditated and demands Saudi Arabia extradite the 18 suspects to Turkey. The backlash against Saudi Arabia for this investigation is spilling into the sports world. A couple of American wrestlers are pulling out of tomorrow's event there. It's called WWE Crown Jewel. Wrestling stars John Cena and Daniel Bryan are both skipping the show. WWE released a statement calling Khashoggi's death a heinous crime, but says it's following suit with other American companies and upholding its contractual obligations to Saudi Arabia.
A sports celebration in Boston brought out some pretty bad behavior, led to an arrest too. The Red Sox held their World Series victory parade on Wednesday. Several fans, they threw some beers at the players as they rode through the streets in duck boats. One hit Alex Cora, who pointed out the 19-year-old he believes threw the beer. One woman needed stitches after a beer hit her in the face. A beer was also damaged the trophy, that special trophy, and it appears the photos with Tennessee native David Price with a bent flag on the trophy right there. I don't understand that. You should be excited, not messing the trophy up. The Braves wouldn't do that. I'm just saying. The championship earlier this year is turning into prizes for a bunch of fans.
People like celebrating during happy times, so this is one way to celebrate.
The Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl about 9 months ago, and the baby boom is here. One hospital is greeting the football fans with this banner.
It's fun because it's our hometown, our Super Bowl. We won, and now it's something fun to do for the town and our hospital to have all of these new babies here and celebrate them for the Eagles win and for these families who have new Super Bowl babies.
Nurses say they've welcomed several new Carsons to the world. Even though the quarterback Carson Wentz didn't play in that big game. It's kind of like when the Cubs won. Remember they named all those babies Addison and all those names? So cute.
And a Major League Soccer stadium is on the way in Nashville. Today is the groundbreaking ceremony for the whole facility project at the fairgrounds. The ceremony starts at 1 this afternoon at the park. Funding for building new facilities at the fairgrounds passed in September, including approval for the soccer stadium and mixed-use development. And because we're talking soccer, I just have to make this quick announcement. Hopkinsville High School boys soccer team made the Final Four in the state.
Wow.
And we're really excited. First time in history they've done that. So they are leaving this morning at 8 to head to the semifinals. And so they're going to sort of do a little parade through town. And I just want to wish them well. I know a couple of boys on the team, and the parents are excited. Everybody's heading that way this morning. So good luck, everybody.
to them and everything, yeah.
Yeah, very exciting. Maybe a little messy if this rain hangs around the region for long.
Yeah, we got rain right now, and that rain is slowly pushing through the region today. behind it, temperatures dropping. So right now the temps aren't bad, but those numbers are going to drop into the lower 60s later today. Other key thing right now, it's a bit breezy for us out there as well. Let's show you what is up as we go through the day. In the mid to upper 60s at 9 o'clock, right around 66 at noon, 3 o'clock 62. Meanwhile, western areas could be in the 50s by the 3 o'clock hour. Rain chances up there today. Tomorrow, 20% in the morning, and then a small rain chance on Saturday. Those chances are going to go back up as we head into the next work week. In Nashville now 70 with a wind south at 16, gusting to nearly 30 miles per hour. So let's do an exact track on winds for today. It's also going to show you very clearly the well-defined cold front moving across the Mid-South. So look for winds at around 15 to 20 miles per hour, wind gusting up to around 20 to 30. At times may gust up to about 35 miles per hour. So as the front comes through, very breezy out there for you today with Halloween decorations you may find in what's left of them in neighbors' yards this afternoon. But there is the front moving across the area. You can see that wind shift line there. As that happens, that's when the temperatures are going to start to drop. Check out what's happening right now as far as our radar is concerned. There's a little bit of lightning, but some of that lightning dying out as it moved into West Tennessee. So there's the setup, front moving across the region today, bringing rain and a few thunderstorms. At one point, these watches for flood were going to be out through tonight. Because the rainfall amounts don't look to be as heavy, the one in Tennessee expiring at 7 a.m. for the mid-state, and in Kentucky there will expire at 1 o'clock. Exact track showing the rain moving across the Mid-South today. Areas of rain with a few thunderstorms embedded in this. And then into the afternoon, cooler weather, scattered showers tonight and a few leftover showers tomorrow morning, but definitely much cooler for a high on Friday. 70 this morning and then dropping, 54 tomorrow, 63 Saturday, 65 on Sunday. Right now the time is 5:20. Rebecca is here with a check of your 5 Live traffic.
We're just bracing for it right now, Leland. Some of our western viewers have already started to feel what you've been tracking this morning, and the roads are starting to get wet near them. Dixon, Hopkinsville, even edging closer to Pulaski, really starting to get closer to that I-65 line. This is where we're seeing wet roads this morning. So if you're not leaving the house for a while, you're closer into the Nashville area, you may have some wet roads a little bit later today. Starting to see just a couple drops. This is I-40 near Fessler's Lane, but everything is still flowing as normal for now at 521. Those westbound lanes inbound on the left side of your screen, they are still running on time. From Hermitage, you're going to take 11 minutes on the interstate to get to downtown, 16 from Mount Juliet, and 27 minutes on your way in from Lebanon. This traffic report brought to you by Mark Spain Real Estate. Now let's head back to the desk.
Hundreds of Google employees are planning to walk out of work today. The reported problems at the company that they're standing against. Happening today, more than 1,500 Google employees are planning to walk off the job. It's a stance against how the company is handling sexual harassment complaints. That comes after the New York Times reported they accused male executives they made millions of dollars in exit packages, which Google denies. Many in the walkout group are women who are also demanding a commitment to equal pay and opportunities. General Motors appears to be cutting its staff. It's offering buyouts for 18,000 white-collar employees. That's about a third of their workers in that department. GM CEO says the company is looking to transform the workforce to prepare for the future.
And the future of Twitter could be missing one feature, the like button. Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey said the site will drop the button soon, but no word on an exact timeline. Twitter's official account did tweet a statement saying it is, quote, rethinking everything about the service to ensure we are incentivizing healthy conversation.
Right now in Nashville, we are under a cloudy sky with some light rain in the metro area, a little bit more solid area of rain to our west. So like our weather kid, grab the umbrella today. This is Beckham Quillen. Beckham is out of Cottontown, showing us temperatures dropping as we fall into the 60s a little bit later today, mid to low 60s later today. So for folks thinking about doing a little yard work or even maybe mowing the lawn, here we go, keeping it on the red light for that and the car wash today. Now going into Saturday, things will improve around the area. So for today, look for a high of 70 this morning and then dropping 46 tonight, 54 tomorrow, mid-60s this weekend. Right now at 5:26, it's Check In with Rebecca.
In our metro area, Leland, right now the roads are still looking good. This is I-65, and these are those northbound folks heading to the downtown loop. I-40 here heading to the left and right of your screen. You can see the Adventure Science Center over on the left side there. But take a look at the road weather index. We know that's not going to last for long. These are all the areas where the roads and ground are wet this morning. So Dixon folks and everyone to the west, really right now, west of I-65, you are going to have some wet roads if you are about to head out. Here's our metro map, though. We're starting to see just some of those sprinkles impacting the roads, but nothing too bad just yet. We don't have any current working crashes, but I am going to keep my eye on this throughout the morning and let you know how it shapes up as that weather heads our way. The traffic report brought to you by Hughes & Coleman. Now let's head back to the desk.
Police need your help tracking down 2 men right now. We're going to break down the crime they're accused of and where it happened.
And a Fort Campbell sergeant's final goodbye just hours away. What we know so far about the funeral for Brittany Silvers.
Breaking news, a group of people fighting ends with one man being stabbed. All of details on how that man is doing and what police are looking for this morning. Straight ahead, still on News Channel 5 this morning.
And people from the Bellevue community expected to come together tonight after a man was shot to death in his car on Monday. Those details coming up.
A death row inmate is set to die today, nearly 3+ more decades since the act of a double murder. The legal appeals his team is making that could delay this one more time.
Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. It is Thursday, November 1st.
Yeah, glad you're waking up with us today. Can't believe we're starting a new month already, Leland. That means Christmas is not far away and Thanksgiving's like tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, now that Halloween is out of the way, you'll start hearing Christmas music in the stores everywhere now. Let's show you what is happening as we begin our morning. First up, we head to Clarksville at this hour. You're 67. Since the midnight hour, you've picked up about 3/100ths of an inch of rainfall your way. In Nashville, it's 70. So right now, temps are between about 65 and 70 for a lot of you, but they'll drop later. You can already see the drop happening in western Kentucky around Murray. Look at Dyersburg at 61. Here's some of the rain that is moving in. Let's go a little closer into this. There's some heavy rain with this, but what about lightning? From time to time, a little bit of lightning in southern West Tennessee, but not much going on there at the moment. But it is breezy, my friends. Take a look at some of the wind gusts here in Nashville right now. A wind gust near 30 miles per hour. You see how the wind shifted there along the Mississippi River? That's the outline of that cold front moving our way. For today, mid-morning, 67, rain and a few thunderstorms. Temps dropping through the 60s later today. And then for tonight, we're down to right around 46. We will look ahead to your weekend weather coming up in a few minutes. But right now at 5:32, let's head back over to Amy and Adam.
And breaking overnight, police are searching for a group of people involved in a fight that led to a stabbing, and it all happened near a downtown gas station.
News Channel 5's Blake Rosnowski is live this morning near Hermitage Avenue in Blake. Have you heard how that victim is doing right now?
Well, Amy and Adam, at last check, police tell us that victim is still in critical condition from a stab wound to his chest. They say that medics rushed him over to Vanderbilt University Medical Center at around 2:45 this morning to be treated for those stab wounds after everything happened. Multiple witnesses on scene told police that it started with a group of 5 to 9 people getting into an argument near the Shell gas station and subway on Hermitage Avenue near Peabody Street. The fight escalated into one man stabbing the victim. Everyone took off from there, but police did end up catching one person involved. They took him into custody, but they can't say for sure if he was the person who stabbed the victim or if he was just involved in that fight. Now, police say there were several witnesses that saw everything happen. They've been talking to them here on scene, as well as that person they took into custody to try to figure out what happened. They're also working to pull surveillance video from those local businesses to see if they can get a better idea of how everything happened this morning. Live near downtown, Blake Rosnowski, News Channel 5.
Thanks, Blake. Convicted killer Edmund Zagorski is set to be executed later today. That's going to happen by electric chair.
Yeah, that was his choice. News Channel 5's Hannah McDonald live this morning at the Riverbend Maximum Security Prison. And Hannah, that's where Zagorski is being held, and that is where the execution will take place.
He is on around-the-clock watch right now up until that execution is scheduled to happen. Edmund Zagorski committed a barbaric crime in the 80s, but now he may be most remembered for the state's multiple attempts to execute him. It is still not certain that he will die tonight by the electric chair, which he chose. This week, a federal district judge ordered that Zagorski's execution not continue unless a phone was granted to his attorney to use in the death chamber. As of last night, Zagorski's attorney said the state had not responded to that request. The judge decided if by 11 a.m. today the state hasn't answered the execution, cannot move forward. Zagorski was sentenced to death for murdering 2 men during a fake drug deal. We talked to a victim's wife who is long ready for this to be over.
When these horrendous crimes happen, and these men are given, or women are given the death penalty, it needs to be carried out then so the families can have some closure instead of it lingering on for 30-some-odd years.
The execution, once again, expected to happen tonight at 7 o'clock by electric chair, which is what Zagorski opted for. His other option was lethal injection. His attorneys could still appeal that both are 2 torturous options and that neither should be used. If this happens by electric chair, this will be the first time in 11 years a death row inmate has died in that chair. At Riverbend Maximum Security Prison, Hannah McDonald, News Channel 5.
A man wanted in connection to 2 murders could be in Middle Tennessee. The Macon County Sheriff says 45-year-old Michael Collins used to live in the area. Police say they found the couple's bodies earlier this week at their business. Collins is believed to be in a 2016 Nissan Frontier with Louisiana plates.
A shooting death is bringing the Bellevue community together a little later today. A man died while trying to help his neighbor. News Channel 5's Mo Hiders live at the Bellevue YMCA this morning, where the first community meeting since that shooting happened is going to take place tonight. And what's going to be the focus of that meeting, Mo?
Well, Adam, as you know, many people in this community haven't experienced anything like this. It's not something they're used to. So many people who are going to be in attendance tonight are expected to get answers on where this investigation is. Now, you remember back on Monday, police say Eric Heppenstein was chasing 2 suspects who they say were breaking into cars in the Trace-Side subdivision off Highway 100. He was found later shot to death with several bullet holes in his car. Community members are calling it this senseless and heartbreaking for everyone. Despite the loss, when Metro City Councilman calls Heppenstein's actions noble and says a lot of people would have done the same if they were in that situation. Once again, a lot of people are expecting answers tonight at this meeting, expected to start here at the Bellevue YMCA at 7 o'clock tonight. Live in Bellevue this morning, Mo Hyder, News Channel 5.
Also today, friends and family will say goodbye to a Fort Campbell soldier. 27-year-old Sergeant Brittany Silvers died on post last month. Her estranged husband is accused of shooting her. Investigators say she filed for divorce 2 days before she died. Her funeral is in her hometown of Jacksonville, Florida today. She will be buried at the National Cemetery there. We're waiting to hear what led to a deadly crash in Warren County, Kentucky. Investigators say 19-year-old Destiny Brooks died when she drove into the opposite lane of Highway 185 yesterday. She went off the road and hit a tree, then a pole. She was the only person in the car.
Clarksville police have 3 teenagers in custody this morning accused of theft. Officers think they're responsible for several vehicle burglaries and thefts there. 2 16-year-olds and 1 17-year-old face charges. Police are not sharing the suspects' names right now because they are underage. Right now, those same police officers in Clarksville are looking for 2 guys accused in a credit card theft. Officers say they ran up hundreds of dollars in charges. Officers released surveillance pictures so you can help them crack this case. Police say the man in the gray shirt stole the card about 2 weeks ago, and then the man in the darker shirt, which you see right here, is the one they think actually used the card at the Kroger on Madison Street. If you know who these guys are, call Clarksville Police.
5 Live Traffic. Good morning, everyone. Here's a look at Broadway. Still dry for the moment, and you can see we don't really have too much going on here. Car here or there not having an issue getting where they need to go. However, we know that weather is coming in, and here's a look live from the TDOT cam on I-40 in the Memphis area. You can tell with those headlights, it is wet in that part of town. Here's a look at the road weather index, and we can really see how this is all playing out right now. For folks west of I-65, if you're about to leave the house, you could have some wet, slick roads in your area. Be aware of that if you're heading out to West Tennessee this morning. It's already saturated the ground out there as well. Everyone else still looking okay for now, but we know that's not going to last too long. We don't have any major crashes to tell you about, so that's the good news. A good start so far, but I'll keep my eye on this. The traffic report brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit. Now let's head over to Lee.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. Right now in Nashville, we are under a cloudy sky to begin our morning. Let's show you what is up right now from the Clarksville area. We are starting the day at 67, and since midnight, about 4/100ths of an inch of rainfall there. Here in Nashville, we've got cloud cover and some light rain. You saw Mo a moment ago. He had the umbrella out in his last live shot for some of the showers moving across the region, and you can see down in Bellevue, especially deep Bellevue, some of the rain, and that extends now along I-40 back into West Tennessee. You look at the temps ahead of the front. Temperatures are mild, so it's a mild morning, a breezy morning. Winds right now gusting up to 25 to 30 miles per hour, but there's a very sharp difference right there. That's the cold front. Behind this, we've got Cape Girardeau in the 40s right now, and so some of that cooler weather will be filtering in here as we head into the afternoon. Our weather kid is a student at Oakmont Elementary. This is Beckham Quillen. Beckham showing us 68 degrees this morning, but notice temperatures dropping later today. At that time, some of the western spots may be in the 50s at that time. So Beckham, thank you very much. He is a first grader in Mrs. Hartman's classroom. Meanwhile, let me show you our school of the day. We say good morning to everybody at Charlotte Elementary. That's over in Dixon County. You are the school of the day. More weather coming up in a few minutes, but right now, 5:40. Let's head back over to Amy.
The president is standing firm on his plan to end birthright citizenship. How Tennessee Senate candidates are responding to that idea. And a politician's Halloween joke got some mixed reviews. Senator Ted Cruz's post that had some people laughing, but others are calling insensitive.
We have breaking news at 5:43. A woman is under arrest this morning accused of trying to set her own home on fire.
And police say this happened after an argument with her live-in boyfriend. So News Channel 5's Nick Bears looking into it in the 5 Alert Center with the latest on this case. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Amy and Adam. Yes, young love, emotional, impetuous. It can be great, but when things start going south, it can get, really ugly. Take a look. The situation here that happened in this case, the suspect, well, she's accused of trying to torch a home on 16th Avenue North in Nashville. Metro Police apparently were called to the scene saying that the couple who lived together were having just a loud argument, and the boyfriend at one point apparently asked the woman to leave. So she's accused of grabbing a gas can, dousing the house with the fuel, and then setting it on fire with her boyfriend still inside. Bad move. Good news on this, he's okay. Bad news for her, she's not. This morning she's charged with aggravated arson, likely will not be moving back into that home. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Nick, thank you. Continuing coverage of the immigration debate. More than 100 people hoping to become American citizens lined up outside immigration courts, paperwork in hand, only to find out their court date wasn't actually scheduled. The American Immigration Lawyers Association says long lines were reported at 10 different places on Wednesday. Lawyers say over the last couple of months, more immigrants have received notices with dates that don't exist in times when the court is closed. And word of the problem comes as President Trump defends his plan to end birthright citizenship. Now he says he would rather do it through Congress instead of executive order because it's permanent. Birthright citizenship means all children born in the U.S. are Americans, regardless of their parents' citizenship. Tennessee Senate candidates weighed in on the president's plan. Republican Marsha Blackburn said our founding fathers did not intend for birthright tourism to be an appropriate pathway to American citizenship. She went on to say we need to make immigration fair to those who want to come to this country the right way and end the crazy practice of birth tourism for United States citizenship. Democratic candidate Phil Bredesen said, I have always been a constitutionalist, and the Constitution is very clear about who is an American citizen. It's awfully hard to read the Constitution and conclude that any president can change what it lays out. And Blackburn and Bredesen are in a very tight race.
If you want to take part in early voting, today is your last chance to do that. Election officials are reporting a spike in ballots ahead of the election. As of Wednesday, more than 139,000 Davidson County voters use the early voting option. If you don't head to the polls, you're going to have to wait until Tuesday to cast your ballot on Election Day. You may have to wait in line that day, but it's important to do, so that's okay. Kentucky leaders want to make sure your vote counts. On Election Day, the Attorney General's office will offer a hotline to report any election violations. Voters can call 1-800-328-VOTE between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. Investigators from the Attorney General's office will be on the road around the state to respond to any complaints immediately. We're going to be out and about on Tuesday as well, making sure the election's covered for you. You can catch your full Election Day coverage right here on News Channel 5, both on air and online. It starts at 7 Tuesday on the News Channel 5 network, and we will have all the information for you. Lots of interviews, everything you need to know will happen right then. One politician got in on a little Halloween fun.
There's a meme that's been going around for a little while. It's claiming Texas Senator Ted Cruz is the Zodiac killer, even though he wasn't alive at the time. So Wednesday, Cruz tweeted a picture of the Zodiac killer's infamous cryptic icons and said, "Happy Halloween." While some were upset that he poked fun at a serious case, others thanked him for being a good sport about it.
One South Carolina representative is catching some flack for how he celebrated Halloween. Mark Sanford, the old governor, he posted this picture showing a basket of pocket-sized copies of the Constitution ready for trick-or-treaters. I like that one. That's a good one. Many responded to the tweet warning him that his house is going to be egged and TP'd when he wakes up in the morning. Others say the move is worse than handing out cheap candy. That is our Constitution. That is the best thing those kids could get.
All right, compromise. In one hand, hand out the pocket Constitution, and the other hand, hand out some
There you go,
candy.
that way,
Very
yes.
good.
Otherwise, his house will be papered in the Constitution.
Yeah, that might be true.
Yeah. Do you have extra Halloween candy around?
Woo.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
do
much.
we. We did not have as many this year, and so I have, oh my gosh, I have tons. I'm going to bring it in.
No, share it.
Please don't do that.
Well, for a lot of trick-or-treaters, most of them got through rain-free. There were a couple of spots where there was some rain last evening, but many were able to get prime hours in okay. Right now, we've got more rain moving into the mid-state. There's rain over West Tennessee moving across the region for today. Grab the umbrella. Let's show you what is up. First up, as we go through this Thursday, day 1 of November. Area showers and a couple of thunderstorms embedded in this morning. Notice the temperatures. We are saying a high of 70 today. That's a morning number. Those temperatures dropping when we're at 60 at 6 o'clock in Nashville. Places to the west will be in the mid to upper 50s at that time. As far as rain chances go, they're high today. 20% tomorrow morning. Saturday looks like a nice fall day for us out there before more rain chances move back late Sunday into Monday. In Nashville now it is 70 and a wind south at about 16. Sunrise 7:09 will set at 5:51. Keep in mind we are in the last couple of days before daylight saving time comes to an end. Fall back 1 hour very early Sunday morning, and when you change the clocks, make sure you check or change the batteries in your smoke detectors. Here is a look at what's happening now. A bit more rain moving over the metro area is going to make for a messy commute for some of you. Now notice not much in the way of lightning. We see a little bit here from time to time, but what gets in here just kind of falls apart. There's the whole setup for us now. There's more of a severe weather threat down to our south, where the tornado watch over Mississippi has now been moved over into Alabama. This area of low pressure moving across the mid-south, bringing us rain. The flood watch that was going to be out for all day will end at 7 a.m. in Nashville and at 1 o'clock over in Kentucky. So this area of rain moves across the mid-state. Behind this, cooler weather moving in. Highs only in the 50s tomorrow. Here now your 7-day. 63 on Saturday, and then more rain chances back for early next week. Right now, At 5:50, let's check in with Rebecca for 5 Live Traffic.
We are bracing for a wet commute, Leland. Here's a look at the road weather index where it really tells us where the ground is saturated and we could have some slick roads. So if you take a look, it's pretty much everyone right now west of I-65. So all of our western viewers, our southern Kentucky viewers, heads up Hopkinsville, down through Dixon, and now even close to Pulaski. Other folks are starting to see some of the showers that Leland was just showing you, but the roads aren't too bad in the actual metro area just yet, but we know that that is coming. Here's a look. This is a cool shot. You can really see all the way down I-65 southbound. This takes you down to the downtown split, where this is now I-24 going through the East Bank. Coming in from the north side of town, we're still running on time. For Madison, just 8 minutes on 65 to get downtown. Now let's head back to the desk.
We're about to learn more about some of the tiniest little people around the country. The report due out this morning as Prematurity Awareness Month kicks off.
And some bigger kids got some help enjoying Halloween, even though they couldn't leave the hospital. How staff at Vanderbilt made all the magic happen.
Today kicks off Prematurity Awareness Month, and that means we're going to learn how Tennessee ranks when it comes to birth rates.
And right now there's a 3-year trend nationwide of more babies born too soon. 15 million babies are born prematurely each year around the world. The March of Dimes will release the 2018 Premature Birth Report Card today, which breaks down how all 50 states are doing. We'll let you know as soon as that information is available. And babies in Missouri neonatal unit didn't miss out on Halloween. Nurses at the University of Missouri's Children's Hospital dressed up the itty bitty ones. They used felt and ribbon to make the costumes. Babies transformed into superheroes, candy corn, pineapple, Twinkies, and more. And then they starred in a special photo shoot.
So cute.
It is so sweet. And older kids hospitalized here in Nashville also got a chance to enjoy Halloween together.
Vanderbilt Children's Hospital set up a Halloween costume shop. Kids got to pick out their favorite outfits and dress up. It's just one of the ways the hospital tries to make things a little more normal for the patients there. You know, it's sad they can't get out and trick or treat. But, you know, the trick-or-treating part of the day was a little bit backwards for them. The candy came to them, a parade through the hospital floors. They did that. They paraded through and they delivered candies and goodies to kids unable to leave their rooms.
It is 5:55 and we are starting to get a little bit more wet in the downtown area. This is our downtown sky cam. You can see on the lens we've got those drops on the camera. We can also tell that the road is starting to get a little bit wet downtown here on Broadway as well. So prepare yourself for a wet and possibly messy commute this morning. I-40 still looks okay if you're coming in from the east side of town. We are running on time. This is the Fesslers area, and at the bottom of the screen is that downtown I-24 I-40 split. From Hermitage, we're still at 12 minutes to get downtown, 16 from Mount Juliet and 26 on the interstate from Lebanon. I do expect that to change as the weather moves in, but right now we don't have any major crashes or slowdowns. Now let's head over to Leland.
All right, you saw the camera lens with the rain that Rebecca just showed. Here's another view of the rain out of Columbia. Not enough to move the rain gauge, but you can see the raindrops there on the camera lens for us this morning. Grab the umbrella, also grab the jacket. Temperatures will drop as we work through the day. Here's a check of radar for us now. There had been a tornado watch out over Mississippi that has now been extended, but extended into Alabama, south of the volunteer state. So for today, 70 this morning and then dropping 46 tonight. Breezy today, wind gust up to 30 to 35 miles per hour, and then looking good for your Saturday. Time right now is 5:56.
We start right off this morning with breaking news. Doctors are working right now to save a man's life after a stabbing happened downtown.
News Channel 5's Blake Rosnowski is live for us right now on Hermitage Avenue where all this happened. Blake, you just learned some new information about that victim's condition. What are you finding out?
Well, I actually have some good news, Adam and Amy, about that victim's condition. I was just told by the officers who just left the scene that he is in stable condition. So that is the good news this morning. You can see that the scene has cleared behind me, but that investigation is still ongoing into the stabbing that happened around 2:45 this morning. That was involving a group of people who, for some reason, got into an argument that escalated into one man stabbing another man. Now, everyone took off from the scene from there. Police were able to bring one man into custody, but they're not sure just yet if he's actually the man who stabbed the victim. victim. So that investigation is still ongoing. They are pulling the surveillance video from the local businesses and working to figure out more into what happened. They're also talking to the multiple witnesses who saw it all happen earlier this morning. Again, that scene cleared here this morning, and that investigation continuing to try to find the rest of those people involved and figure out what exactly happened early this morning. Live near downtown, Blake Rosnowski, News Channel 5.
Right now, 6 a.m. on a Thursday, day 1 of November. Let's show you Skycam now. Rain now falling in downtown Nashville for us this morning. Out of the airport, they've got a current reading of 70 degrees. Mild and breezy right now. Look at those winds south at 20, gusting at times between 25 and 30 miles per hour. Clarksville, you're 65. You were 69 earlier. You've now had about 1/10 of an inch of rain your way. There's a look at the rain from Nashville back over in the West Tennessee. That's in the process now of moving east. From time to time, there's lightning with this, but right now not seeing much on the lightning detection network. There's some of the rain moving across the metro area, so grab the umbrella and have the jacket ready for some of that cooler weather that will push our way later in the day. There are the numbers right now, but you can see the blue from west of the Mississippi River and the Ohio River there, indicating the cooler weather pushing in. So for today, 68 at 9 o'clock, 66 at noon, 62 at 3 p.m. More weather coming up for you in a few minutes, but right now, 6:01, let's check in with Rebecca and 5 Live Traffic.
Leland, here's the road weather index, which shows us where the weather is actually impacting us on the ground level. So the road and the ground saturated here. A lot of folks just west of I-65 have been impacted earlier this morning, and now it appears it is moving further to the east as well. Here's a look in the Bellevue area. Take a look at this TDOT cam. Very slick roads here along I-40. You can see on the camera there as well that it is very wet. Still running on time though, 13 minutes on your way in from Bellevue along I-40. The interstate is still your fastest bet. Here's a look from our Skycam overlooking downtown. You can tell with those street lights down on Broadway and the neon honky-tonk signs reflecting on the ground that it is also starting to get slick here as well. So be careful as you head out. The good news is we don't have any major crashes yet. Everyone's doing a pretty good job on the roadways so far. We hope it stays that way, but I will keep my eyes on the roads just in case. Now let's head over to Adam and Amy.
Happening today, all eyes are on the Riverbend Maximum Security Prison. That's where a convicted killer is set to be executed tonight.
And News Channel 5's Hannah McDonald live from the prison this morning. She has more on what's going to exactly happen today. Hannah.
Edmund Zagorski right now is in a room on death watch, which is right next to the death chamber. His attorneys are still waiting to hear back on several last-minute challenges that in the past have bought Zagorski some time. He was set to die originally on October 11th, 3 weeks ago, and now we are here. Earlier this week, in the days before the last scheduled execution, his attorneys asked for the U.S. Supreme Court to delay the execution so a list of issues could be answered, and Governor Bill Haslam ultimately did postpone the execution so the prison staff could prepare the electric chair, which Zagorski requested in the 11th hour. And now this week, more questions. This morning, one that remains unanswered is if there will be a telephone for his attorney to use before and during the rescheduled execution. At the beginning of the week, a federal judge granted access to one to be in the prison for his legal team to use, but the state has still not responded. And we know that if they do not respond by 11 o'clock this morning, this federal judge says this execution should not and cannot happen. Edmund Zagorski is on death row because of something he did in 1984. He put on a bogus drug deal and ended up killing 2 men. Coming up in the next half hour, we will hear from one of their relatives who says this has been going on for too long and she is ready for it to end. At Riverbend Maximum Security Prison, Hannah McDonald, News Channel 5.
And the Bellevue community is left with so many questions after a neighbor was shot to death in his car on Monday.
And tonight they're going to put on a meeting for the first time since that homicide. And News Channel 5's Mo Hyder's live for us at the Bellevue YMCA this morning. And Mo, what can we expect to see come out of this meeting?
Well, Adam, as you know, this community is certainly not used to a tragedy like this one, and they're expected to get those questions answered tonight here at the YMCA, where that meeting is expected to take place. Now, again, you remember this happened on Monday when police say Eric Heppenstein was chasing 2 suspects who they say were breaking into cars in his Trace Side subdivision just off of Highway 100. He was found later shot to death with several bullet holes in his car. Community members are calling this senseless and heartbreaking for everyone. Despite the loss, one Metro City Councilman calls Heppenstein's actions courageous.
I think the reaction of Eric was a very noble one, and one that I think a lot of people like to think they would have done, is if they saw a neighbor's stuff being rifled through, that they would try to do their part to stop it.
And you can imagine a lot of people are hoping to get an update on this investigation. And once again, that meeting is set to begin at 7 o'clock here at the YMCA in Bellevue. Live in Bellevue this morning, Will Hyder, News Channel 5.
New this morning, a man is waking up in jail charged with firing shots during a home invasion. Now, this is Kessler Willingham. Kentucky New Era reports the 40-year-old broke into a home on East 1st Street Tuesday night and held a man and his 5-year-old at gunpoint, demanding money. Police arrested Willingham yesterday. 2 more people are on the run. Trigg County's new sheriff-elect will be sworn in today. Jason Barnes will transition from Sheriff Ray Burnham this month, then take over where Burnham retires in December. Barnes has over a decade in law enforcement experience and most recently as a detective for Hopkinsville Police.
Well, Tennessee is on the verge of discovering a new legal top cash crop, and some say this is finally a lucrative replacement for the dying tobacco industry. News Channel 5's Nick Bears is live in the 5 Alert Center with a preview of his exclusive reporting. You've been working hard on this, Nick. It's coming up tonight at 10.
Yes.
So what's it about?
Adam, I've been doing a lot of research on this. I think it's very, very exciting. In a word, the crop we're talking about, cannabis, not marijuana, but specifically hemp. Of course, that's been in the news a lot lately. A couple of quick facts I'm going to share with you here, along with some very interesting video that's going to be part of my story tonight. What you're looking at here is a hemp farm ready for harvest here in Middle Tennessee. That's happening right now. This is the harvest season. The state now licensing farmers. Anyone can do it to grow the plant, and that number has gone from a few dozen just in the last couple of years to over 300 this year, and it's going to grow even more and more signing up in the years to come. Why? Demand for hemp, specifically to make CBD oil, again, which has been in the news. CBD oil, a lot of people using that for health reasons. That's booming. And consider this, an acre of tobacco will bring between $3,000 and $5,000. All right, that's for 1 acre of tobacco. You wonder why people are getting into this crop? 1 acre of high quality hemp with CBD can bring up to $50,000. Many believe indeed that makes it the future and what will be Tennessee's next legal cash crop. I was there for one of the state's big hemp harvests just within the past week. We'll take you there and go into the details of what this really means for Tennessee and the money and what it means for folks who use CBD oil. That's tonight, my exclusive report at 10 o'clock. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
And that's a hot topic that's connected to what happens at the polls as well. Election 2018 is just days away, and President Trump is making a last-minute push to maintain Republican control of Congress.
And in the 5 days leading up to Tuesday's election, the president is actually holding 11 rallies in 8 states, largely in support of GOP Senate candidates in tight races. Last night, the president was in Florida, and this evening he'll be in Missouri. And Sunday, he'll be in Chattanooga.
Well, here in Tennessee, we are no strangers to hotly contested tight races, and today's the last day to vote early in the volunteer state. So far, voter turnout has been huge, with more than 32% of registered Davidson County voters already casting a ballot. Almost 1.2 million people have voted early or absentee in the state so far. If you can't get to the polls today, don't worry, you still have Tuesday. Can't vote tomorrow, can't vote Monday, but you can vote on Election Day Tuesday.
And we have polling locations and hours posted on newschannel5.com. And come Tuesday, we'll be covering everything Election Day from start to finish, including an election special, which starts at 7 o'clock. Music City loves its artists, but not all artists play the guitar.
That's true. News Channel 5's Kristen Scovira takes us inside a new apartment complex that caters to foodies.
Even pro chefs like City Kitchen's Michael Gilbert have kitchen envy.
I do not have this at my house. I want this at my house.
Broadstone Gulch is a new apartment complex and the first residential high-rise to open in the Gulch in more than 4 years.
The food scene's exploded, and the talent that we have in this town's, easy to tap.
Ben Owenell is the development director.
This gives you a pretty good panorama between Sobro and out to East Nashville.
He says cutting through the clutter and filling a building these days is all about location, amenities, and creating community.
it not only provides a service for our tenants, but also provides a service for that chef and that artist to say, hey, I loved his food. I'm going to follow him on social media. I'm going to follow him where he goes. I'm going to eat at his restaurant.
Gilbert was invited to the property to demonstrate different menu ideas.
I think it's a great idea. It's a lot of fun. I think there's so many music venues in Nashville, and so many opportunities for artists to kind of describe what they do, show off what they do, and I've always kind of thought that would be a neat idea for chefs to do on a different platform.
He says performing in front of dozens of people had him nervous initially.
Most chefs are back of the house for a reason, because getting out and talking to people is always a thing.
Still, he says introducing new tenants who may be new to Nashville to area businesses is a perfect pairing.
I see it being beneficial just from a friendly neighborhood community thing, as well as, you know, from a business standpoint of these people will hire me for their parties and their gigs.
Kristen Scovira, News Channel 5.
All right, right now in Nashville, I am under a mostly cloudy sky. We're starting with rain in part of the area, and the rain chances continuing to pick up today. Let's head to Dixon, and we've watched the rain gauge go from very little here to now nearly 1/5 of an inch of rainfall your way. And you were 69 before the rain moved in, and now you are at 65 degrees. The rain will continue to push across the region, and as the front moves across the area, temperatures will drop. There's some heavy rain that's associated with this, but I've seen very little lightning. But there's the rain now in Nashville. We got a little rain here at the station and rain along I-65 north and south of Nashville for us this morning. Before the front moves across the area, temperatures are not bad, but through here, they've already started to drop into the 50s, even a couple of spots over in Missouri in the 40s this morning. So for the students on their way into school, area showers and a couple of thunderstorms can be ruled out, 65 to 70. Temperatures dropping. You'll have some of our western areas that will be in the 50s a little later today. Our school of the day will work our way over to Charlotte, Tennessee and Dixon County and Charlotte Elementary. You are our school of the day. 7-day coming up, but right now let's head to Nick at the alert desk.
Leland, you know, Halloween behind us, and you could say yesterday quite a scare for some commuters. Call it the California Chainsaw Massacre, almost. I'll tell you about that when we come back.
We've been asking questions for days, and we might soon have some answers. Divers just recovered the data recorder from a flight that went down moments after takeoff.
And deadly flooding continues to slam Italy, really burying buildings in mud right there and collapsing a major bridge. We have a look at this big damage straight ahead. New this morning, some guy with a chainsaw puts a scare into commuters on Halloween night. News Channel 5's Nick Barris is live at 5 Alert Center with the chilling details of this. Pretty creepy.
Oh, I suppose so. Let's call this the California Chainsaw Massacre, almost. Crazy situation, a little bit scary. Look at the video shot by one of the commuters on the BART there in San Francisco. The video looks like a little something out of a horror movie. You've got a guy here pulling 2 chainsaws out of a box. Look at that one right there while riding on the BART there in San Francisco. And he moves to try to fire them up, and he starts joking about the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre. These days, you know, yeah, it's Halloween, but you got to take this stuff seriously. He could never get them started because it looks like they were fresh out of the box. Security was called and rushed him, took him into custody, as I said, before he could start those up. Now, whether he was really planning on hurting anyone with those chainsaws or just being stupid, we don't know. The bottom line is he's charged this morning with making criminal threats. Not a good idea. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
We may soon have some answers about why a brand new 737 Boeing jet plunged into the sea Monday. Divers recovered the flight's data recorder last night belonging to the Lion Air passenger plane. The plane crashed just minutes after takeoff from Jakarta, Indonesia. All 189 people on board died. And we all remember this deadly wildfire in California. It was the second largest in the state's history.
And now a utility company has admitted that it is to blame for starting the Thomas fire. Officials admitted they believe their equipment is to blame after witnesses came forward earlier this week. The blaze scorched more than 280,000 acres, consuming more than 1,000 structures before it was contained in January. 2 people were killed. And thousands of firefighters in Italy are battling water right now, digging out roads and buildings from under mud and rubble. Heavy rains flooded a river yesterday, collapsing a major bridge and knocking out power to thousands of people. More rain is expected today, and officials are concerned about that. So far, 11 people have been killed in the flooding.
And we have emergency crews that train all the time for any disasters like that when they happen. And we want to welcome the EMS World Expo. That is still taking place at the Music City Center. They're here this week, training, learning about some new techniques and stuff. They also had a big disaster scenario out at Bridgestone a little earlier this week. Maybe you saw that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of firefighters come in past Octobers as well. So I don't know if it's the exact same one or not, but people love coming to Music City for their
what a
conferences.
draw.
They do, yeah.
They do, and if they're outside walking around today, don't forget your umbrella.
Yeah, grab the umbrella, grab the jacket, because you may think, not the jacket right now. It's 70 degrees, but here's the deal. Later today, those temperatures falling into the upper 50s and low 60s. It was like kind of a delayed reaction with color this year. Look at this. That's a great shot there. St. Thomas North Tower off of Charlotte. Johnny sent that in via Twitter to me yesterday, but he's had a great shot, not Photoshop at all. Beautiful autumn color over at St. Thomas North Tower near Charlotte Avenue. So Johnny, we appreciate you sharing that with us from Twitter yesterday. I'd show you our weather kid today. He's got the umbrella. This is Beckham Quillen, and he is ready for that temp drop today as well. So you look at radar now, and you can see some of the showers that are out there. There's rain. Some of that rain's a little heavy in West Tennessee. From time to time, a little bit of lightning, but not much showing up at this hour. The severe weather threat for the moment south of us. Tornado watch now out from Mississippi in to Alabama. This area of low pressure will move across the mid-state with a cold front. The watches that were out for flood watches, they're going to be dropped early. So this one in Tennessee dropping here in about 40 minutes. The one in Kentucky until 1 o'clock this afternoon. So exact track showing the showers out there. The rain becomes a bit more scattered this afternoon. Cooler weather moving in, much cooler tomorrow with a high of just 54. Today we're at 70 this morning and then dropping 41 tomorrow night. So Saturday morning, some spots could be in the 30s and then temps in the 60s for the weekend. Our weather artist today is Ryan. Ryan is a student at Carol Oakland in Miss Mawson's classroom there with the rain coming down. So Ryan from Carol Oakland out of Wilson County, thank you for being our weather artist. But right now, Rebecca is here with a check of your 5 Live traffic.
The commute is getting messier and messier at Leland. Here's a live look from Live Drive. This is just before Old Hickory Boulevard along I-40 westbound in West Nashville. So the west side of town saw those wet roads first. And you can see, I mean, just from this ground level view of what the conditions are going to be like when you head out this morning. Be very careful. Skycam showing us Charlotte Avenue this morning, also very wet on the west side of town. This is a major alternate route for folks who don't want to get on the interstate. Everything is moving on time. The weather isn't actually having a huge impact on drive times just yet, but this crash is. This is Vietnam Vets near Gallatin Pike, Hendersonville, folks. I'm sorry. I don't know why it always seems to happen to you guys early in the morning now. We are up to 30 minutes. If you use the main route from Hendersonville, you can shave off about 4 minutes using Gallatin Pike instead. Now let's head back to the desk.
It's that time of year again, time to weigh your health care options. What you need to know today as open enrollment begins, and thousands of Google employees across the globe plan to walk out today. Why they're so upset, straight ahead.
Well, it is that time of year again. We are talking open enrollment.
How exciting. We went from trick or treat to that. That's happening now for both employer-based health plans and the Affordable Care Act. You can sign up for 2019 coverage at healthcare.gov until November 15th. You can also call or send in a paper application. Coverage selected now begins January 1st. A gym in Sacramento harnesses the power of its members' workouts to help power their building. How about this idea? The technology is similar to what's used in wind turbines, harnessing kinetic energy and then converting it into AC power. Members can see how much power they generate and then compete for who creates the most. Thanks to the members and solar roof panels, the gym pays less than $5 a month for electricity. Hopefully, if you win, you get a discount or something. You're helping them out.
That's awesome. And in just a few hours, thousands of Google employees around the world are staging a walkout. The New York Times is reporting it's in protest of the company's handling of sexual harassment claims. Last week, the Times reported Google quietly protected at least 3 male executives over the last decade, letting 2 leave with hefty payouts. Following that report, Google said it has fired 48 people for sexual harassment in the last 2 years, and none of them received exit packages.
Right now, rain coming down for some of you. Let's check out our camera out of the Dixon area now. And you've had now over 1/4 of an inch of rain for us this morning. Here is a check of what's happening on radar with some of the showers over the mid-state. We're going to keep an eye on what's happening over in northern parts of Alabama right now. There is a strong storm right there on the Alabama state line. So it's a severe thunderstorm warning there. So we'll keep an eye on it and see if any of that may make it into the southern part of the mid-state. But right now, rain, temperatures around 70 now, and will fall into the 60s, lower 60s later today. 7-day coming up in just a few minutes, but now Rebecca is here with a check of your 5 Live traffic.
Thanks so much, Leland. A live look from our Skycam showing Church Street over the interstate this morning. Our higher up places, higher elevation roads are doing okay, but closer to ground level, you can see things are wet and messy. This is I-40 in West Nashville. A live look from Live Drive heading inbound now toward downtown Nashville. Still running on time along that route. Just be careful. We do have several crashes. A new one just popped up. Blue Hole at Bell Road heads up for that Old Hickory Boulevard, really close to I-24 westbound ramp. And Hendersonville, folks, we do have a crash. It's now moved over to the right, but it's Vietnam Vets westbound right near that Gallatin Pike exit. Now let's head back to the desk.
Well, it all started with an argument in a popular part of town. Now one man is fighting for his life after someone stabbed him downtown. We'll break down this case at 6:30.
Keep them away from gang violence.
He's been in prison for a decade, but now he's looking to turn his life around. Why the DA decided to let this man out 7 years early. Good morning, everybody. Glad you're waking up with us. It is almost 6:30. You are going to need an umbrella today.
Yeah, we are starting here in the Weather Center with Leland because we're seeing a lot of rain on the radar right now, Leland.
A lot of rain on radar. In a moment, you'll see Rebecca with Live Drive out there and some of the wet streets that we're dealing with over the Mid-South this morning. Grab the umbrella, rain moving in, grab the jacket. Temps are around 70 now, but they will be dropping later today. Let's show you what is happening from Skycam in Nashville. We've got a current reading of 70, but look at the wind, 20 miles per hour. And some spots, winds are gusting 30 to 35 miles per hour. St. Thomas West, 67, the rain gauge there, about 1/10 of an inch of rainfall in just the last hour. So check out radar over Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky for us this morning. Let's take rain off for a second and look at lightning. Not seeing much in the way of lightning over our area. We are watching a storm on the Alabama state line. That's a severe thunderstorm warning. That cell right now in the process of moving east. That part of the state is under a tornado watch. Here in our area, we've got rain, and some of that rain is heavy, so be mindful of that. And that's going to move across the mid-state, making for a messy morning commute for a lot of you. Check out the numbers right now. Again, those temps will drop later in the day. Temperatures by 3 o'clock around 63 in Nashville. West-northwest could be in the 50s at that time. More weather coming up for you in a few minutes, but now at about 6:31, let's head over to Amy and Adam.
We have breaking news this morning. One man has life-threatening injuries after someone stabbed him in the torso. He's in stable condition right now after he was stabbed about 3 o'clock this morning on Hermitage Avenue. Police tell us a group of at least 5 people were arguing, then took off when the man was stabbed. One person is in custody, but it's unclear if he's the one who actually hurt the victim. We'll update you, of course, as soon as we learn more. And happening today, convicted killer Edmund Zagorski set to be executed by electric chair.
News Channel 5's Hannah McDonald's live this morning at the Riverbend Maximum Security Prison. And Hannah, Zagorski's being held in sort of a special spot leading up to this, right?
He is on death watch in a room adjacent to the execution chamber. He is being watched around the clock. He committed a barbaric crime in the 80s, but he now might be most remembered for the multiple attempts the state has made to execute him. His first execution was supposed to happen at the beginning of October. Now it's still uncertain that he will actually die tonight. This week, a federal district judge ordered that Zagorski's execution not continue. unless a phone was granted to his attorney to use in the death chamber. As of last night, Zagorski's attorney said the state had not responded to that request. The judge decided if by 11 a.m. today the state hasn't answered the execution, cannot move forward. Zagorski was sentenced to death for murdering 2 men during a fake drug deal. We talked to one of the victims' wives, who is long ready for this to be over.
When these horrendous crimes happen, and these men are given, or women are given the death penalty, it needs to be carried out then so the families can have some closure instead of it lingering on for 30-some-odd years.
The execution by electric chair is scheduled for 7 o'clock tonight. That is the method that Zagorski opted for. There's a chance his attorneys may appeal his execution one more time and say that lethal injection and execution by electric chair are 2 torturous options and neither should be used. We will just have to wait and see what happens tonight. At the Riverbend Maximum Security Prison, Hannah McDonald, News Channel 5.
It was the first time a nonviolent drug offense that landed a Nashville man in the same prison as killers on death row. And now, thanks to a deal struck with the district attorney's office, that man's 17-year sentence is over after just a decade. Now Calvin Bryant wants to give back to the community. Bryant says he knew better than to sell drugs, and he plans on using his new freedom to enroll at TSU to finish his degree and to keep up his nonprofit Positive Inner City Kids.
Keeping them away from gang violence, teaching them trades and doing things and keeping them active and in school and things.
Bryant's original sentence was so harsh because he was within 1,000 feet of a school at the time he was dealing drugs.
And happening today, the man who brutally killed a young nurse will face a judge for sentencing. News Channel 5's Nick Barris is in the 5 Alert Center with what we can expect. Nick.
Amy, this murderer potentially faces a life sentence in prison, and it's a good bet that's exactly what he's going to get for killing this woman right here behind me. Now, Christopher McLaughlin was found guilty last month of breaking into Tiffany Ferguson's Wedgwood apartment and stabbing her to death. The judge today will issue the sentence, all right? And that includes the option of life in prison with no chance of parole. McLaughlin, you see there, is scheduled to be sentenced and in the courtroom here at the Birch Building at 9 o'clock this morning. We'll be there. You can download the News Channel 5 app for all those details. We'll have them for you as soon as they come in this morning.